I've Decided presents The Journey. Along the journey to your success, there are many great adventures and great insights. You can learn from it all. Tune in the first week of every month and be encouraged by guests who will share their success stories and their challenges.
Well, hello. This is Jeannie Quick, and I'm here with my friend Anne. Shut the door.
Shut the front door. You got it.
Quick and shut. Boy, those are two unique names, aren't they?
They are, absolutely.
Our weekly winning word this week is roots. And boy, if you start and think about this, and one of the things that I really liked in this when it came out was the beauty is in the flower, but the strength is in the root.
Yeah.
And if you start and think about that, it is really in our lives, in trees, all of this is just so unique. And that, what do you think of when you think of roots?
I'm big into family and history and just knowing your roots and where they come from, but I'm also very into making sure that you are taking care and nourishing your own roots, right? Like if you are trying to do so many things and run 10 different directions, but you're not taking care of yourself and providing that strength and foundation, as we've learned in our readings from this week, it can be disastrous if the storm comes up, right? And so I think it's important to understand yourself and to understand what you need in order to have strong roots so that you're prepared in life for anything that could come along.
I think also with the roots that if you think of these trees and you look out there, and I'm a tree person. I'm not a tree hugger, but I'm a tree person. I love trees. And if their roots are anchored really down in the ground, and you look at these trees that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, they withstand everything. The wind, the rain, tornadoes, here's this tree standing there and everything else is laying down. And I think we have to think of ourselves as the same thing, that if we anchor those roots wherever we're at, and that's another thing, is sometimes we get transplanted. We get uprooted and we get moved to another area or a vicinity or something else in our life. And you really need to anchor yourself in where you are at.
Yeah.
And that, I know when I first started into real estate, I sat there and I thought, oh my goodness, after I sell houses to my friends and my relatives and everything, where am I going to get any business? And I remember Michael Maloof, I was at Maloof at that time, and I remember him saying that you will go through many facets, and people start out and they have their first home, so first-time home buyers, then you get a family and you get a bigger house, and then you end up maybe getting transferred.
Yeah.
So again, you're going someplace where those roots are going to go somewhere, and then it could be a divorce. It could be a death or something. And then you start going downwards and you get a smaller house. So each one of those times, if you think about like a tree, if each one of those times you're transplanted somewhere else. So wherever you're at, you need to dig those roots that you have had growing up or wherever you were before, and anchor them in your life. And then go farther. So let those roots go down deeper and deeper. So, and how do we do that? Education.
Well, and think of for you, being a realtor for as long as you've been and as successful as you've been, you had that tenacity, right? It's easy, I think, when you start a new goal or job or something to, now it's hard, so maybe I'll just go do something else. But you anchored your roots in and you just kept going. And now you've built this, this strong career. So
and that's in a lot of people's, there's people that would like to own their own business, but they're afraid to step out. So you know what? Think about your roots, go back to those roots and pull something from those roots.
Yes.
And go forward and step out there, on that limb, step out there, God's got you.
Oh, and the more, we think about the reading and how, there was the story about the biome and the people living in the biome, and they were able to grow trees, but they didn't have deep roots because they never were subjected to wind and water and rain that would make them, challenge them, that would make their roots grow deeper. And so it's kind of the same with us. If we always kind of live within our safe zone, right? And we never push ourselves and stress ourselves with things or try new things, like maybe it's starting a new business, maybe it's changing careers, whatever that might be, are we really strengthening our roots? If we're never kind of stress testing ourselves.
Well, when a tree in a storm or whatever, they lose a limb, and that they don't fall down. They, stay right there and be strong in their roots, but then they go forward. There might be another little branch come out. There might not be one there, and so they have an empty spot. But we need to do the same thing. We're going to have setbacks, and people are going to tell you, you can't do this, or you're too old, or you're too young, or you're too fat, you're too skinny, all of these things. We can't think of those things. We have to go back into our roots and pull them back up and say, I can do this. Yeah. But then you need to surround yourself with all the positive people. The people that are going to help you grow. And you're going to have coaches. You're going to have other networking people. And you're going to have, like, if you're going to go into a certain career, real estate.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to go into this real estate, then you need to get a mentor. You need to get someone that's going to bring you along that has already weathered that storm.
It's the environment, right? Like you're not going to take a hibiscus tree that's going to flourish in someplace like Florida and take it to Antarctica and expect it to grow.
It's not going to.
Right? If you're consistently, you're not in the right environment. So you put yourself in the right environment, you let your roots go deep and get established, surround yourself with the right elements and, and your own self, right? Like your roots and the depth of your roots and nourishing those roots, it's all from how you believe in yourself, right? You believe in yourself and you just keep going, and those roots are going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. Right. I think it's when you start to have that self-doubt and, if you're not in the right environment and you have self-doubt, those roots are just going to get shallower and shallower, and then that storm's going to come, and over you go. But if you're in the right environment at least, then that storm's going to come and you're going to have that support, right? Those roots that you need to weather those storms.
And that's where you reach out to your mentors, to your coach or whatever. Back up, regroup, and go forward.
Yeah.
And that we need this. We need accountability. Partners. We need somebody out there, and I think this is what helps those roots go down. In the article, there was 3 different things. Embrace trials of life. Okay, that's one thing. Then the second was nourish your environment, and we just talked about it. And the third one is cultivate tenacity.
Yeah.
Okay. The one I think I liked all of those. And that, I told you the story about real estate and how that one. Another story that popped up in my mind as I was kind of going through and reading this was, I've lost a child, and I remember people coming up to me and commenting on how strong I was. Well, I'm part German, very much German, and Indian, and my mother kept saying, it's your German ancestors. It's that. And so I think, I'm not saying any other one doesn't, but I think that German people are strong. They're stubborn too, and I am stubborn. But anyway, they're strong and they can endure a lot. And I think that's what I reached down and I grabbed those German roots that I had and went forward, and that. So I think sometimes, I think that's good about checking out your ancestry.
Oh, well, and you learn. I mean, think of how I'm sure you were raised because your family came from those roots. And when you look back at history and you look at the German people and what they endured, right? They were hot right through world wars, right?
Oh, yeah.
There was so much that they went through. And so you just think of all that history and that ancestry and how that has trickled down in the generations to what you learned and how you were taught and the different skills that you probably developed because of that.
Also in the article, and that your challenge for this week. There was 3 different things, and I'm going to kind of throw them out there. So if you're listening to us and that, write these down and challenge yourself to do that. What trials do you need to embrace right now? How are you nourishing your environment? Where can we grow in tenacity? Write down your answers, and see what those are, and how strong are your roots. I think sometimes writing things down, I journal every single day. And I've got to the point that not just in the morning or night, I kind of journal through the day. If there's something that somebody says or comes on the news or I'm reading or whatever, I'll write that down, and it's amazing when you go back and then you reread it. So, if you don't journal, I think you should journal, always.
It's interesting. So at my work, we have, right now we have someone that is our dream manager.
Oh.
And so what we did as a group is at a recent retreat is we all took time and we wrote down 100 dreams, things that we wanted to accomplish, things that we wanted to have in our lives, whatever it was, whatever we wanted to achieve, we wrote it down. And then one of our coworkers is our dream manager. And so she's our accountability partner.
Right.
So it's part of those roots, right? So our organization is setting this new precedence of we want everybody to achieve their dreams and achieve their goals. And so whatever that is for you, write it down. But the big thing is also tell someone else.
Right.
Tell someone in your environment that's going to nurture that and help hold you accountable, help provide the encouragement and the even just little prods and pokes now and then, right? To say like, so how are things going? Like what you guys do here at I've Decided, right? Like, this is amazing. You have somebody that comes and they say, I've decided to do this. And now you have an environment of people to say, hey, Jeannie, how's that going? How can I help you? What's the next step?
We do that in Dream Outside the Lines when I do vision board workshops and it's amazing because you learn from other people different things. I know I had one girl that she loves pineapples and that. So every time I was in the store or something, I would see, and sometimes, cheap little thing or something I'd pick up for her, but I would always think of her because she loved pineapples. And when she made her vision board, you'd see pineapples all through it and that. So, but it does, ring a bell at some of those things. I just was going to talk about something else, and of course that just skipped my mind. Oh, when you were talking about that dream list, in my life now, I'm to the point that I have a bucket list. and I guess you could have a bucket list any time of your life or anything, but one of the things is I would love to ride or drive a 0-turn mower. And this last week I got to do that, and our mower kind of went on the fritz and the farmer had one, and so I got to do that, and so I could mark that off my bucket list. And that so I think, the fun things you want to put on that dream list or the bucket list, but you also want to put things on there that's going to challenge you. Challenge you to grow and keep going. Yeah. And I think that as we get older, don't ever stop dreaming. No. Keep those things and go back and refresh yourself from your roots. And another thing too, your kids, which I'm sure as they grow and everything, but then when you have grandkids, it's kind of our responsibility to teach them of our roots. Yeah. And so as they go, you can do this because you're from German ancestor.
That's
you
right.
can do this.
You can do anything you put your mind to.
So it's like we need to teach, not just ourselves, but we need to teach the younger ones. Yeah. And it doesn't always have to be your grandkids. It can be other kids or something. Ask them, let them talk about things, and even questions that maybe make them go back and ask their parents or their grandparents, because that's, we need to get these kids away from Xbox and the phones and everything like that, because we need to nurture them right now to come into their roots. And if we don't do that, who's going to do it?
Who's going to do it? And I think it's, recently a coworker and I went to a local organization that is for younger people, just out kind of in that 18 to 24 age range, and they're kind of in between. They're not in school, they're not working, but it's a program to help develop them to be able to get a certificate in green infrastructure. So when you talk about roots, right, like their whole purpose is to make the world a better place through more green technology. And but it's one of those that it was a class on financial literacy and just kind of planting some of those good roots right early on when it comes to their finances. But what an amazing group of people, because you just want to, again, not my children, right? But I see them as, this is the youth, this is the next generation. And how can we pour into them and help them have stronger roots so that they can succeed as well? And I think if we all take that opportunity of looking to that next generation and saying, wow, like how can I pour into them? How can I help them dig in deeper roots? What do I wish I would have known, right? Or what did I have in my family that I appreciate that maybe not everybody's had? Somebody maybe just to say, you can do anything. Jeannie, you can do anything
Right.
you put your mind to.
Right. And you know, I've decided on .org, you can go on there and you can find all the help that you want. There's coaches, there's different articles, there's a weekly winning word, there is other podcasts you can listen to. You know, join us. Go out there on I'veDecided.org and join us. And whatever you want to do, dig deep in those roots and join us next month for another topic on our weekly winning word. This is Jeannie Quick and Anne.
And Anne, shut the door.
See you next month.